From F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Cheyenne, Wyoming, this is Missile Minutiae, the official podcast of the 90th Missile Wing and the Wranglers of F.E. Warren. Here are your hosts.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast. This is Glenn Robertson from the Public Affairs Office here on F.E. Warren. You are listening to Missile Minutiae, the official podcast of F.E. Warren and the 90th Missile Wing. Today I have with me Senior Airman Ethan Ormonde from the Comptroller Squadron. How you doing today, bud?
I'm right, sir. How are you?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. I'm making it. So we have you on today because there are a whole lot of questions about this whole tax deferment thing. I'm hoping you might be able to get us around the bend and figure out a little bit about that. So first off, why don't you tell us about what our airmen and what our personnel need to be concerned with as far as the tax deferment?
Sure. So what you really need to know is that on August 8th, there was a presidential memorandum written, and it directed that Social Security withholding not be taken for the rest of the calendar year 2020. So what is going to happen is, if you look at your LES, the most recent LES, so if you want to look at August LES, you're going to see a Social Security deduction in the deductions column. The simplest way to put it is that for the rest of the year, September, October, November, December, there's not going to be that number there. It's not going to be on your LES because they're not going to take it from you. What is important to know is that the plan is, as of right now, from January to April of 2021, the deferred Social Security deduction will be recouped along with your normal contribution to Social Security. So what you'd want to do is take a look at your LES, take a look at that Social Security number, and then multiply that by 2. That's what is planned to be coming out of your paycheck from January to April of next year. It's not planned to be a lump sum collection. They're not planning on taking it all from you on January 1st. It is planned to be recouped from January to April of next year, and they're just not taking it for the rest of this year.
So obviously, we're not going to get into whether or not there's a possibility of this, going through Congress. I don't want to do that to you. I know that that's way above both of our pay grades. But what would you recommend to an airman or to anybody actually to not put themselves in a bad spot come January of next month? I mean, savings sounds like a good idea, but I'm no money guy. So
keep it. Nope, keep it. You don't have to be a money guy to know to keep it. The best plan is going to be just save what you would normally be paying, and then that can kind of help you offset what's going to be taken from your paycheck more than normal for the first 4 months of 2021. So the easiest advice, just keep what you're being given, put it away, put it in a sock, put it in a shoebox. But you definitely don't want to go out. The shoes aren't worth it. Come January 1st, there's not going to be a whole lot that your finance office will be able to do to help offset that extra collection from January to April.
I've already done the same thing. I've set aside a savings account for specifically this because the last thing I need to do is find myself in a spot where I've got to pay back a ton of money that I don't have. And I think that would be, an idea for some folks is just put it in an account. Put it just as soon as you get your paycheck, just put it away.
Yep, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't know about you, but if that physical cash is somewhere in my space, my living space, chances of me spending it get a little bit higher. So just, but I don't know. Maybe you're a lot more responsible than I am. I mean,
I think I'm just more a little bit out of sight, out of mind, because if I put it away, I just won't know it's there. But if I see the number there on the bank account, it might be a little bit different.
And that's why I was, the people that I've talked to, it's just put it into a separate account. Don't keep it in your checking account because it's just too easy to there's manna from heaven. It's extra money. So with any of that, I mean, is there any other concerns? Obviously a lot of this is fairly cut and dry, but I mean, would you tell any of these folks any other warnings or anything like that?
Sure. So most of the complexity lies with those who aren't going to be on active duty. They're going to come off of active duty sometime before April of 2021. So there are some questions that have been routed up the chain to get solid answers on, like, I'm separating or retiring in December. What's going to happen to me come January, April? Or I'm coming off of active duty orders, or I already pay extra tax every year. Is that going to offset the obligation that I'll have from January to April? Your finance office has not been given that kind of guidance yet. The only guidance we've been given is that it will be deferred for the rest of 2020 and recouped in the first 4 months of 21. So any of those special questions about, I'm not going to be on active duty from January to April, or my pay won't be there from January to April, we haven't quite gotten guidance on yet, but the question has been asked because we know there are plenty of individuals separating and retiring from the military coming through our office just right now.
Just photographed Chief Bradley's retirement, so he's going to be one that's going to be coming off the rolls in that time. So I don't want to put you in a bad spot, but you said that you haven't received any guidance yet. Are you expecting that your office would likely, and I mean, if you don't know, that's okay. But I was just curious if you had heard that there might be something coming down the pike as far as more information for retirees and those people.
I know that the last time we were given guidance that the question was asked was on the 14th, so that was fairly recently.
Okay.
I know that as soon as there is guidance passed down that it will be given to our office, but the problem with this kind of thing is it's coming from the Congress, it's not coming just from the base commander or something like that. So as soon as we do have the information, it'll be dispersed to everybody else, of course, if it's not already in the news. But
fair enough.
We don't have a date exactly when we're going to find that information out.
Totally fair. And the one thing that I had seen is that as federal employees, you and I are both federal employees, we do not have the option to opt out. Is that correct?
That's correct. So what actually happened, and it happened on the civilian pay records and the military pay records, is that September 1st, the DFAS actually made the corrections automatically. Okay. So I September 2nd came, I looked at my own pay record, and I said, oh, look, I'm getting a bigger paycheck. Yep. So they did do that. We didn't have really any notification. We didn't have a hand in it. So they did start that automatically for everybody.
Gotcha. Now, there was a top limit of who was affected. Now, obviously, the majority of the military is within that limit, but I don't remember offhand. What was that upper boundary?
It was 4666, so 4,666 per paycheck.
Okay.
That was the limit, so about 8,000 and a little higher per month. If you're making over that, then you're still going to be paying your Social Security per month.
Well, man, I think this one's been one of my faster ones, but is there anything else you'd like to add before we close it up?
I'd just like to make sure, those leaders out there, shirts, supervisors, make sure your airmen understand what's going on too, because most of the questions we're getting are those brand new folks, just coming out of BMT, out of tech school. Make sure they understand what's going on, because that's the biggest customer base we have is folks who simply just don't have the information. So pass it down to your guys and make sure they're aware. Don't give them a choice to be ignorant on this subject.
That is fantastic advice, man. Well, folks, that's the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and next week we will be back with another interview. We've got the Communications Squadron coming in to talk about Cyber Awareness Month, as well as the Fire Department coming in to talk to us about Fire Prevention Week. As I may have mentioned earlier, if any of you out there in listener land have some ideas for us to interview, people that you'd like to have their brains picked, and maybe just tell us a little bit about what they have going on, just drop us a line. Our email address is 90mw.pa@us.af.mil, and we are definitely open for suggestions. Thanks for listening. See you next time.